racism is a global and vague term.
Sorry, but
why
would you possibly do that? What did that mean?
Because I said it was a global and vague term.
No, the inverted commas as if it's not a real thing.
No, that isn't what it meant.
Well, what did it mean then? Explain.
It meant that it's indicative of low-resolution thinking.
Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you are feeling good. Today we'll be checking out a video by Jordan Peterson titled Jordan Peterson Shuts Up Woke Panel on Racism, after asking this one question. Wow, I believe this is going to be an interesting one. Let's check it out. Go.
What you are about to see is a classic example of Jordan Peterson's mastery over words. In the midst of a high-stakes debate with the BBC panel, Jordan Peterson tackled an array of contentious topics, among them the ever-polarizing subject of racism. His approach to this sensitive issue sheds light not just on his perspective, but also on the broader discourse surrounding race relations today.
With the revelations from cricket's Azim Rafiq and footballers still taking the knee, what does this say about racism as a continuing undercurrent in present-day Britain? I
think the same point I made earlier applies, is that things need to be particularized rather than generalized, as a general rule, let's say. And so this cricket player was facing racism by his own account. The question is, who, when, what, exactly? Because otherwise it degenerates into something like a discussion of structural racism. And when it becomes abstracted up to that level, first of all, that pits group against group, which I think is entirely counterproductive. And it actually doesn't address the issue. You know, racism is a global and vague term.
Sorry, but why would you possibly do that? What did that mean?
Because I said it was a global and vague term.
The inverted commas as if it's not a real thing.
No, that isn't what it meant.
Well, what did it mean then? Explain.
It meant that it's indicative of low-resolution thinking. And what I mean by that is we use all these terms frequently in discussions like this that are
he was
containers of undifferentiated content.
He was repeatedly called abusive terms directly linked to his ethnicity.
By who?
By not just one, but repeated members of the Yorkshire Cricket Club. He's had people contact him. If it walks like a duck, Jordan, talks like a duck, it's a duck. It's racism.
I'm not denying his experience.
Right.
What I asked was exactly who and when, and you just answered that question. So I would say those specific people should be held specifically to account for their actions before any movement up the abstraction hierarchy to a discussion of something like structural racism, which I don't think is helpful.
Well, he has talked about institutional racism in cricket. He says that's what he's experienced as a term, institutional racism.
Right, I know. And like I said, I believe that abstracting up the problem to that level of analysis does no good because it pits groups against groups. I think it exacerbates the problem. The concept of structural racism. It's too imprecise. It doesn't address the issue. Now, that does not mean racism does not exist. That is not what I'm saying in the least.
Peterson's examination of racism isn't confined to overt acts of discrimination or prejudice. Rather, he delves into the complex interplay between individual responsibility and societal structures. He argues against the oversimplification of attributing all disparities and conflicts to racism, suggesting that such a viewpoint diminishes the multifaceted nature of societal issues and individual agency. One of Peterson's key arguments revolves around the danger of reducing the narrative to a single dimension where racism is seen as the root cause of all societal ills. While acknowledging the undeniable existence and impact of racism, Peterson cautions against its use as a universal explanation for every form of inequality. This perspective invites a more nuanced analysis of the issues at hand, encouraging a consideration of other factors that may contribute to disparities, such as socioeconomic status, educational opportunities, and community support systems. Peterson's stance aligns with a growing body of research suggesting that effective solutions to racial disparities require a multifaceted approach. For instance, a study published in the Journal of Economic Perspectives highlights the complexity of addressing racial inequality, pointing out that policies solely focused on anti-discrimination may not be sufficient to eliminate disparities. Instead, the study suggests that a combination of strategies addressing various aspects of inequality is necessary for meaningful progress. Furthermore, Peterson challenges the narrative that views all disparities through the lens of oppression and victimhood. He advocates for empowering individuals with the notion of personal responsibility and the capacity to overcome adversity. This perspective resonates with the ideas of scholars like Thomas Sowell, who argues that a focus on self-empowerment and personal agency has historically been a key driver in overcoming racial barriers.
Wow. What an interesting answer from Jordan Peterson. We can all tell Jordan Peterson is someone that is very articulated, very intelligent, always ready to say the truth and stand by the truth. I really love the way he expressed himself, the way he answered every question with detailed, vivid, and clear explanation. That really shows how intelligent Jordan Peterson is. And believe me, anytime I listen to Jordan Peterson, I get to learn one or two from him. I don't know about you, and I really love the way he expressed himself, the way he classify every word to give a better and clear understanding on each word. Just by this video, we see Jordan Peterson talking about racism, and he wasn't generalizing it. So if you are talking about racism in general, then you have to, then you bring conflicts between people, between groups. But if racism is happening in a particular place, in a particular organization, in a particular aspect, it should be addressed instead of generalizing it. And you can tell even those in the panel, they weren't taking it lightly with him, because they thought he was trying to say racism doesn't exist, which was not what Jordan Peterson was saying. They tried to frame it up, but Jordan clearly explained his facts to them, and I believe they clearly understand. Because why Jordan Peterson tried to explain, you can see some of the panel listening to him and nodding their head, because Jordan Peterson is so good with how he explains West. And I've really learned a lot just listening to Jordan Peterson. I hope you also do. I would like to hear your comments based on the points and the facts Jordan Peterson have stated. Let's get the conversation rolling. Don't forget, click on the subscribe button, click on the like button. Do have a nice day.